again!
I see pride!
Junior!
I see power! I see a proud mother who won't take no crap off from nobody!
That's right!
Right! Junior Bevel!
Wait, what are you going?
Did you know that Corey Taylor of Slipknot made a conscious decision to avoid cursing on the band's third studio album? Or that he had a feud with accomplished producer Rick Rubin during the recording process? Why did guitarist Jim Root write a special note on the back of his guitar while in tour to support the album? Stick around as we answer these questions and more on 10 Fun Facts About Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses by Slipknot. Number 1. No cursing. Vocalist Corey Taylor made a conscious decision to avoid cursing on Slipknot's Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses, due to criticism regarding the amount of cursing on their first two studio albums. The frontman himself spoke to an interviewer in 2019. "I was catching so much hell, whether it was Slipknot or Stone Sour. Oh, he can't truly be a great writer because he can't write without using expletives and whatnot. I was like, oh really? Okay. So I did the whole album specifically for that. To me, it was a bigger FU to write a whole album without saying that. I was pretty proud of that."
Oh, fudge. That's broken. Fiddle-dee-dee. That will require a tetanus shot. I'm not going to swear, but I am going to push my fingers into my eyes.
Number 2. Slipknot.
Not!
Slipknot's Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses, didn't start out with a very productive recording process, and almost didn't happen because the band was too busy drinking and was not getting any work done. As various members of the band recount their own stories, drummer Joey Jorgensen told Revolver magazine in 2008, "Me and Paul demoed a bunch of songs. I flew down to Los Angeles and arrived expecting to practice. I walk in and Corey says, 'No, I'm going to the Rainbow.' And Sean says, 'No, I'm working on something else.' I'm like, what the fuck, we're not jamming?' So I go get a bottle of Jack Daniels and drink myself into oblivion. Then I wake up at 3 o'clock the next day and say, 'Right, let's jam.' And no one wants to. It took us 3 months before everyone came together." Vocalist Corey Taylor would say, "For the most part, I pushed everybody away. I would drink all day and then go to the bar at night. I was the quintessential lead singer. You were gonna cater to my ego and tell me everything was great. And that's so not who I am. Honestly, I never wanted to be like that. I would keep a bottle of Jack next to my bed every day. Instead of figuring out why I was upset, I just drowned in it. I just wanted to feel something other than terrible." Turntablist Sid Wilson would explain, "Like some of the other guys, I went through some relationship problems and started drinking and smoking reefer really heavily, non-stop all day to deal with the depression. I'd stay up for 3 days straight. Then I'd pass out for a day and continue the cycle until I realized a year later that there's a lot worse things than being on the pity pot. I started playing piano and that was a good release for me, getting rid of the depression through the keys." Number 3. Healing process. The recording process for The Subliminal Verses was largely a time of healing and reunion for Slipknot, whose interpersonal relationships and dramas had caused so much tension that the band had essentially broken up, with multiple members forming or reforming other bands during the hiatus. Singer Corey Taylor told Revolver magazine that it was their manager Corey Brennan who helped to bring the band back together again. "At Christmas 2004, I had $2,000 in the bank. It's hard for me to talk about. We got fucked by our old management so bad. We were young, we were really stupid, and we were duped. We thought that people were looking out for us, and they weren't. But by the time we got to Volume 3, we had found our current manager, Corey Brennan. He had worked at Roadrunner and had been around since the beginning. This guy is so savvy and so together, and because we all knew him, we believed in him. He helped us get focused again and find that passion. He helped us realize, fuck dude, we're in Slipknot. We're the biggest band on the planet, and that gave us confidence and maybe helped us rally for one another on Volume 3. It showed me that everybody in the band wasn't against me. We were there for each other, but really, we were rebuilding bridges for the whole first year of the Volume 3 tour cycle. And it took us a long time to get to that point where we healed a lot of wounds."
I see pride!
Can't hear you!
I see power! I see a badass mother who won't take no crap off of nobody.
Once again!
I see pride.
Junior!
I see power. I see a badass mother who won't take no crap off of nobody.
That's right!
Right, Junior Bevel.
Wait, what are you going?
Number 4. The Mansion. Slipknot's Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses, would be recorded in 2003 at The Mansion, a 4-bedroom estate owned by producer Rick Rubin, located in the Laurel Canyon region of Los Angeles, California. The Mansion is famous for the multiple bands who have recorded hit albums within its walls, a list that includes popular bands such as the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Audioslave, Marilyn Manson, the Mars Volta, System of a Down, and Linkin Park. The estate was also a former home of Golden Age actor Errol Flynn. And did you know that the mansion is also allegedly haunted, according to various people who claim they had paranormal experiences while working at the mansion, including one of Rick Rubin's publicists, who claims she saw a woman in a white dress walk past her on the staircase, or Slipknot's Corey Taylor, who claims in his book A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Heaven that he saw a man wearing a tuxedo enter his room while he was taking a shower. Number 5. Rick Rubin, the Ghost. Although producer Rick Rubin is an accomplished producer with many notable hit albums on his resume, Slipknot singer Corey Taylor was less than impressed by the producer's methods. As he told Revolver magazine in 2008, "I wouldn't know what it's like to work with Rick Rubin. I only saw him about 4 times. Rick Rubin is a nice man. He's done a lot of good for a lot of people. He didn't do anything for me. I'm not happy with the vocals on that record. There are a lot of takes that I thought were much better than the ones they used, and I wasn't asked about a lot of shit. It sounds amazing, the songs are great, but we were being charged horrendous amounts of money." He was also noted as saying in a different interview, "Rick Rubin shows up for 45 minutes a week. I respect what Rick Rubin has done, but the Rick Rubin of today is a thin shadow of the Rick Rubin that he was. He is overrated, he is overpaid, and I will never work with him again as long as I live."
Well, my work is done here.
What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything.
Didn't I?
Number 6. Rick Rubin, the Yoda. Although Corey Taylor had a negative experience working with producer Rick Rubin on the Subliminal Verses, guitarist Jim Root had a much different experience. As he explains, "As dark as that time was for me, it was really amazing how attentive Rick Rubin was to us as a band. He knew I was going through a hard time. I never told him, but I got a knock on my bedroom door, and his assistant came up, and he had this herbal calming drop that you put on your tongue to mellow out. A lot of the guys in the band say Rick was unavailable, and yeah, he takes on a lot of projects at one time, but he also does things that are beneficial. He was listening and having us retrack things that needed work. He's kind of like Big Brother up on the hill. Even though he wasn't there physically every day, he was, and that's my favorite record we've done. We tried some things that were different and took some chances, and they came out great. I was hoping we'd be able to evolve from that. I'm not sure that we have."
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Number 7. Unsung Hero. Corey Taylor credits producer Greg Fiddleman as the unsung hero of Slipknot's The Subliminal Verses, despite the fact that he was only credited as an engineer. While Corey was frustrated with Rick Rubin over his lack of availability to mentor the young singer, he was quick to heap praise upon Greg Fiddleman for being the mentor that he so sorely needed at the time. To me, Greg was the other producer. He was there from sometimes 6 in the morning till 4 in the morning. I mean, every day when we needed him. We have a great rapport with him. He gets us. He challenges us. He also knows when to get out of the way and just let us be us. So we have a great relationship with him. The best thing you can have is somebody who's not afraid to tell you that an idea is shit. And I feel like too many bands do that. They don't have anybody pushing them. They have nobody challenging them. Because they get to a point where they think, well, I don't need anybody to tell me. I'm talented enough. I obviously know what I'm doing. But that's not the case. You forget that the albums that people loved you on, there were other people helping you do that. You have to have that open mind to understand that listening to an idea takes 10 seconds. If you just dismiss it out of hand, then you may be missing out on that one moment, that hero moment, that can make everything come together. and Greg knows exactly how to throw those little bombs out there to push us. He infuriates us sometimes, but at the same time, I'd say 9 times out of 10, he's right. He knows what we're trying to go for. He knows what we aspire to be, and he helps us get there. Number 8, Burp Super liminal. The album title, Subliminal Verses, speaks to the, should I say, duality of Slipknot's approach to making music, and the intentional twist that the band puts in their music to keep the listener guessing. As the singer himself explained to Fuse TV, basically the concept behind Subliminal Verses is that there's 2 levels of information. There's the blatant and there's the kind of subdued. The blatant always comes off the way it is. It's in your face, right there, and you can listen to a song a million times and get the same message. But with the subdued, which is kind of underneath, under the smoky remnants of it, that's where the subliminal part comes in, because there's always 2 sides to every story. There's what's going on, and then there's what's not going on, with everything. There's 2 sides to everything. The real message that comes through is that just when you thought you understood us, there's a whole new program ready for you guys to download.
Why do you need subliminal messages?
It's a 3-pronged attack. Subliminal, liminal, and superliminal.
Superliminal?
I'll show you. Hey, you!
That space that you call mine.
Yeah, alright.
I'm in.
Bonus fact, the Go Homacaster. Slipknot guitarist Jim Root almost took his guitar and went back home during the middle of a European tour in support of the Subliminal Verses, even going so far as to write down the cost of airfare on the back of a Telecaster, which he gave a special nickname. There were times I wanted to pull my credit card out and book myself a flight home. When we were in Europe, I called up the airline and priced out a one-way flight from Paris to Des Moines. All I had to do was give them my credit card number, and I just couldn't do it. I had to see it through. And then the next day, I took one of my custom fenders and started writing all over it with a Sharpie. I wrote down the airfare from France to Des Moines, and I wrote the Go Homacaster on it. And F this band, and F all these a-holes. But I finally realized that all the guys in the band were there for me. I just didn't see it. So over the next couple years, I started to clean my act up, slowly but surely. And it took me until Ozfest 2004 to figure it out.
Okay, that does it. Screw you guys, I'm going home. Well, I'm gonna just give me a minute.
Number 9, House Destruction Party. The music video for Duality was filmed at a house that was about to undergo renovation. However, fans that filled the house for the performance were so energetic that they end up causing far more damage than the band had expected. The list of damages includes, but was not limited to, broken windows, water-damaged carpets, destroyed gutters and picnic tables, and a hole in the ceiling where the chandelier used to be. The video would cost almost $500,000 to produce, with Roadrunner Records allegedly paying the homeowner $50,000 to help with repair bill. Slipknot co-founder and percussionist Sean Clown Crahan would explain, "We asked our fans to be in the video and people came from all over. It meant so much to us. We weren't really supposed to destroy that house, but we did it anyway. Another plus for that song is that I get to beat the fuck out of my cake. What else could you want?" Number 10, Corey's Regrets. Although Slipknot singer Corey Taylor had strong words in criticism of producer Rick Rubin over his experience while working with him during the production of Subliminal Verses, he would later express his regrets for placing unfair blame on Rick and deflected more of the criticism at himself and his own expectations. I'm going to be honest, I think it was more on my end than it was on his. He works his way and he always has. I was not used to working that way. I was a young guy, freshly sober, being a singer and being sober. I need your attention, Rick, I need it. So that was me being young, unsure of myself, needing the guidance, which I got from Greg Fiddleman. I didn't have anybody there to help me, so I blamed him a lot. In retrospect, probably more than I should have. I feel bad about it. Hopefully, someday I'll be able to make some amends with him.
I'm sorry I was whack. I was whack. I was whack.
Hey, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, you might want to check out 10 Fun Facts About Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park, and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when we release new videos.